Welcome. We are your hosts, Chris and Tammy.
In this podcast, we dive into the mindset for networking strategies and skills you'll need to build a solid foundation to build a global business.
We've built a multi-million-dollar business and have mentored thousands of people around the globe in the last 25 years. Okay, folks, well, welcome to the Go for Diamond call session, or I should say Go for Diamond webinar session this evening. And in fact, what we want to share with you here, the content that we want to share with you here this evening, has a lot to do with the power of one more from Ed Mylett. And as we are reading and adapting and learning and doing all the different things that we're learning to do in how we build a business in this time and era, sometimes we come across some information and it really hit home. It is actually very important that we share with all of you when we talk about the convenience versus inconvenience. A lot of these things are gonna come across as common sense, but I think it's important that we talk about this in the same time that we can give you some concrete examples that on how we behave around this particular subject, especially when it comes to success, building a network, building your business, and all the different areas that we come across.
Absolutely. And like Chris said, it is really all common sense to all of us, and every single one of us in our lives, whether we were competitive in sports growing up, you had to be in inconvenience to be able to get to the levels you wanted to get in your performance. And what's really important is to stay out of the convenience portion of it. Of course, convenience is nice. As I thought about all the inconveniences that happened to bring us where we are today, I think it's important to look at that and to be able to recognize the things that you've done up to now, and to move forward to the next stage is the key, right? So what do we need to do in the next stage? That's why we wanted to talk about the difference, of convenience and inconvenience. And of course, Chris is going to share a couple of quotes that he has that he wants to share that really hit home for him. And I think sometimes we just need to get that one thing, that one sentence, that one phrase, that one quote that makes us realize that we're not taking our businesses to another level.
And the one thing that I want to start with is are you willing to get uncomfortable and do the actions that are inconvenient for a short time to create momentum in your life? And we were starting to build, and I remember making these phone calls, lifting like that 1,000-pound phone, right? I remember the rotary. I had a rotary. It's funny when I hear and I see these 15-year-olds, I don't even know what it is. But you see, I remember making these phone calls, and it was very inconvenient. And sometimes, unfortunately, and I know some of you come through all of this, where you're sharing incredible, powerful knowledge, and you get these people that are very short-sighted, that can't see past the limitations, and they will turn around and says, "Oh, that's a scam." Or I don't believe in these kind of industry. I don't believe in, and at the end of the day, we got millionaires galore all over the world with this industry, but still, you will come across some short-sighted folks that are going to take that dream away from many people because they're going to get intimidated by that one person that can't see past their limitations. So this is the portion that I'm talking about. That's the inconvenience. That's the inconvenience. And to be successful in this kind of business, and to be honest with you, to be successful in any kind of business, you will come across the naysayers. You will come across the dream stealers. You will come across the people that will rip the dream out of your head so you can stay exactly where they are. And they don't mean to. That's the limitation to the extent of what they're able to see. So it's very important, folks, that you understand that it doesn't matter what you do. You need to accept the fact that you need to become uncomfortable for a period of time to get into that comfort. But if you stay too long into that comfort mode, unfortunately, it has an expiry date. And the fact here is that, life is cyclical. What goes up comes down. What comes down goes back up. Since the beginning of times and beginning of dawn, it's always been that way. But I know what we're caught into that roller coaster, and right now we're going down and it's rushing down, right? Well, it's not always pleasant. It's not always comfortable. Get uncomfortable. Go talk to people. Make these phone calls.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, this is our season to really thrive, to plant. And don't be afraid to talk about money. So many people are afraid to talk about money. Oh, well, what if they're not looking? Well, you'll never know if you don't talk about money, right? So find a way in conversations to talk about that. Just get out there and be your best self and just bring the best out of you to impact people's lives. You got to focus on your potential and where you want to go. And this is called being inconvenient. And we keep talking about that. I don't want a life of convenience, to be honest with you. I love to make a difference every day. If I think about myself only, it's going to be convenience. But if I think about what I want to do to leave a legacy, to leave an impact, well, that it requires inconvenience. So keep doing the things that are going to make an impact in people's lives. And honestly, for me, that is not really inconvenience. Even though I have to go out of my way, for me, it's about making a difference.
I totally agree, Tammy. And I put a statement here, guys. The ultimate measure of a man or a woman is not where he or she stands in moment of comfort and convenience, but where he or she stands at times of challenge and controversy. And it really, really hit me, because that's the difference when you look at real leadership. Sometimes we look at people at their best behavior when everything goes perfectly well. And of course, it's easy to look good and easy to look nice. But when things are tough and controversial and difficult, that's when you really see true leadership shine. And Tammy said it right there, is that convenience and greatness cannot coexist. You can still be in an inconvenient stage, but actually have fun and enjoy the journey while you're actually doing this. It's not all about, bleeding and tough and suffering. That's not what we're talking about. It's to enjoy the journey. It's uncomfortable, but eventually the inconvenience and uncomfortable environment becomes normal.
It's like social media, same thing, which we'll talk about after. It's just getting out of that comfort, which is convenience. That comfort zone kills lifestyles. Anybody who has a dream they're not going to achieve the dreams by staying in convenience or comfort. It's just not going to happen.
And you will find that satisfaction and self-esteem comes from accomplishing inconvenient tasks, right? So if you feel that your self-esteem is not in check, the best way to overcome that is to actually do the inconvenient things. That means make that phone call, connect to that person, send that, PM, send that message to that person that might have liked a video you did, right? And this is really, really, really important. Get uncomfortable. And as you achieve, different situation or scenarios that you may come across in doing something that's uncomfortable to you, you will find that it will add on to your self-esteem. And these are all the things that builds you up, which in turn, I talk about this human credibility deposit, right? As you do these things and you have small successes, they will compound. And when they compound to a point where you can make this huge withdrawals, right? That comes across in your posture. So when you're talking to a CEO or you're talking to, a company owner or a business owner or a money maker, you have a better posture instead of going there like a shaking leaf, right? Which often is the reason why they may not want to do business with you, not because of the opportunity or because what you're presenting, but it's because you don't portray the kind of confidence that they would expect.
Absolutely. Let's keep going. So ask yourself these questions, everybody. I want you to participate a little bit. So what kind of life do you want to live? Write something down right now. What kind of life do you want to live? In the next 2 to 5 years, what does that look like? Start jotting down some things. What are you willing to do? You need to write these things down because you need to have this in front of you when you wake up in the morning, when you're working. That's going to be your motivation. It's your plan, right? If you don't have a plan to execute when you wake up in the morning, most likely you're going to wander.
I wanted to rephrase that because I really want you guys to concentrate on this. This is really, 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 really important, right? So Tammy asked the question, what kind of life do you want to live? We want you to really start focusing on you. What kind of life do you want to live? The other question is, who are the people that you want in your life? Ask your question, who do I want in my life? Ask that question. Who are the people that you want in your life? And the other question is, what are my standards for reaching the goals that I have? What are my standards? My standards, right? And that was Tammy was asking, what are you willing to do? What are your standards in reaching the goals that you want to achieve? And here's the really important question that envelopes these 3 questions. Number 1 is, will you get the answers by living a convenient life? Think about it. Will you get these answers by continuing living a convenient life? That's a big fat no. And we all know that. So the fact here is it needs to start, and it goes back what Tammy was talking about your dream board. You need to know what you want, and you need to be clear, like ultimately clear. What is it that you want? And you're willing to get uncomfortable in doing that, because it will have to be. Just to rephrase, what kind of life do you want to live? Number 2 is, what are the people that you want in your life? And it might be other questions that are important to you. Please feel free to add them. The other one is, what are the standards that you're willing to either break or develop to reach your goals? Are you willing to get uncomfortable? Because if you're comfortable, it'll be difficult to get there.
How many of you have a vision board already created? When you have pictures and you put dates beside them, that creates inconvenience. But at the same time, as you're looking at this life that you're creating, this dream life that you've always wanted, you'll see that the inconvenience is not so inconvenient because you have such a desire to achieve it, whatever it is. So what kind of life do you want to live in the next 10, 15, 20 years? What kind of life do you want to live? Does it require an income? Does it require money? Do you have that already put aside? So tonight's session was really to deliver the message of how important it is to get to be inconvenient, to get uncomfortable. And that uncomfortableness over time will be so comfortable. You want to get uncomfortable again because you want to learn something new. Take a course. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. This is a business, and these are all tax deductible. So never look at the money that you're putting out in the moment. Look at it as who you're going to become in the process.
So as we end this here this evening, Tammy, we want you to know, folks, that we really care. And Tammy and I have a different way to communicate the message, but we both really, really care for you. And we're going to continue providing and giving you everything we have. But at the end of the day, you need to choose what you're going to do with that knowledge, with that information. Have a great evening, everybody. And bye for now.